Hey, so today we're at Liberty Walk in Nagoya, Japan, and we are checking out their builds that they've been working on over the last couple of years. Hey, so let me start off by saying the purple Lamborghini is by far my favorite, followed by this highlighter yellow one. However, I'm going to show you everything from their newer stuff to their older stuff. They have quite a few GTRs, so enjoy the video. Two different style of kits. A lot of these cars are the cars you see in Instagram posts and YouTube videos, but here we are walking among them, and we will show you some of the up close and personal things about each one. So for example, this Murcielago, you can't really see how beautiful the paint is in photos. Well, maybe you can under certain lighting depending on which show it was in, but it's actually a really pretty paint. There's some carbon fiber work up top where it's usually chrome or black depending on which version it was. And this is interesting. So this is a limited production Lambo, original to Japan, imported to Japan, but it's still left-hand drive. Whereas their race car over there is right-hand drive. Still Lamborghini, just right-hand drive. Now, I really like this purple, and a lot of people don't really like the girly colors, but I very much like it, and I like how much flake is in this. I think it's not too much. It's not real big flake. It's just enough there to where it'll pop in the sunlight. And then I really like when they do the single stag down the middle into the wing. I like these side pieces right here, how it comes off the fender flare. I think this is beautifully done. I wish more people would do this. It's a little odd to see what I thought was a Raptor, but I don't actually think it's a Raptor. But yeah, it's a standard F-150, but it looks pretty close to a Raptor just because of how wide they made it. And then you kind of have some weird stuff too, like this Prius. And then of course it's got Liberty Walk fender flares on it. And then yet another Ferrari, but they have that pearl white on bronze wheels, which I think always looks very clean for a JDM build. And they did one better. They have red interior on it as well. And then this one actually has 3 exhaust pipes, which is kind of cool. I will say that the center one is fake and the 2 outer ones are real. A telltale sign of this is the soot that's on the outer one, how clean the center one is, and then you can look in and it's wide open. So, but it looks good from an aesthetics perspective. Then you have a Huracan. in red, which I think everybody that follows the channel knows that I love red. And it has fender flares, but it kept the lower scoop on the side skirt, which I think looks really good. And I'm actually a little surprised that when they designed this kit, that they didn't bring this down to this line here. But I think that this works how it came in. I wonder if that was an original design consideration. Now there's two of these. We showed you one before across the street at the other Liberty Walk garage. Nearly identical cars. The other one is number 5, and then this one is number 9. So that's a telltale sign. They have the number decal on the side. And I do think the wheels are different between the two cars, but with the exception of that, they're pretty much the same. Now this will be the most subtle of all the R35s. This one does have the Liberty Walk fender flares, and it has a very small, I say very small, it's got about a 6-inch duckbill on it. It's not a standard duckbill that wraps around, it just kind of sits on the trunk lid, which is different than the other R35 builds you'll see at Liberty Walk, is this one doesn't have a large giant GT style wing. And I do like the scoops, the individual scoops, and this is kind of necessary on the R35, as the R35 typically has 2 intercoolers on the sides. This one has a massive intercooler down front in the middle, which is probably why that stayed wide open in the front. So something that last year I didn't really see in Japan that we saw this year is, for whatever reason, there's a big mod scene behind the Fiat 500s right now, specifically the Abarth models. Even Autobox has a whole section just on the Fiat 500s. And so of course, you know, Liberty Walk has done the same thing. They've modified one, they've put, you know, fender flares on it. Shoot, I wouldn't even just say fender flares, they put a whole kit on it. They have a side skirt, they have a whole front bumper. And the interesting thing about this is it doesn't have the exposed rivets or bolts or screws. You know, they're all a little different, but it doesn't have the exposed hardware like a lot of them do. So very interesting. And then this, of course, has the almost rally style wing on the back that you see on a lot of the rally hatches. So kind of cool. So Liberty Walk actually has multiple locations in Nagoya. They gave us a van ride to this other spot to check out this. This is actually an RX-7 right here. They have this crazy bus, some Land Cruisers, a bunch of old Skylines to include GTRs. There was a lot of really cool stuff at this secondary location. But yeah, look at all the dry carbon. Yeah, it's beautiful. So for those of you that don't know the difference between dry and wet carbon, so dry carbon will be very fine without a ton of gel coat on top of it or clear coat. In this case, you can just see the exposed dry carbon. Yeah, so the interesting thing about these is they are the only two full dry carbon bodied cars. So you have a Ferrari here and obviously an R35 GTR. They both look pretty wild. Two different style of wings, but also very cool. And they both have open front and rear vents on the fenders to let that air escape. So pretty cool. Both on bags, both stretch tires if that's your thing. The GTR has less of a stretch on the tires, more of just a tiny sidewall. But both cool regardless. This thing's beautiful too. You got yourself an old Z. So you have an older four-door Skyline here, and I'll be honest, it's a stock body. There's no fender flares on it. You know, this is how they looked. And then you have a two-door coupe Skyline on this side with the over fenders, just real small fender flares on it. So, which are really nice. And then it has the black fender mirrors that actually match the fender flares, which I think kind of brings it together. A lot of times you'll see these in different colors, sometimes chrome, sometimes paint match. In this case, it kind of brings this shape together, or this color scheme. Now the color on this Z is very different. And I would say that this car is unfinished, so it's, you know, the inside of the gas cap is unpainted, the interior still stripped. Oh, there's no steering wheel on it. There's an adapter, a Boss adapter on it for a 6-bolt wheel, but you know, I'd say that this one is still a work in progress, but it is beautiful. The paint looks super fresh, but there's still no gasket between the fender flare and the body. Here's another Skyline coupe. Very, very similar build to the one that we saw earlier. Oh, do we want to see it?
Yeah.
Look at this. Betty Boop. It's funny.
Japanese bad boy.
Are they Bozozuku? Not Bozozuku.
Bozozuku.
Yeah, Bozozuku. Painted really well. So these are a little dusty, but usually the best things are dusty in my opinion. There's even an old Camaro over here, a model Camaro. And then you have different GTRs, some Bozozuku style cars, which are awesome. Haven't really seen any this trip in real life, like real Bozozuku cars. We've seen some Bozozuku bikes, but all this is really cool. So if you get a chance, come down, check out Liberty Walk in Nagoya. They are excellent hosts and they will show you around. You can check out their cafe. I've heard the food is good. But yeah, thanks for watching the video.